Tu me dis exactement quand Good morning, everyone, and welcome again to the Odoo Experience, the biggest ERP event in the world. My name is Gabriel Moraes. I'm account manager working mainly in Spain, Portugal, Angola, and Mozambique. And today I'm going to introduce you to a very interesting concept that's the Odoo Ecosystem. And the main reason why I'm making this presentation is because I notice on a daily basis that there are a lot of organisms and a lot of companies that they don't understand, they don't have very clear the interaction of each one of the organisms that make the Odoo ecosystem. And this situation can lead to some misunderstanding in the professional relationship. And the companies, they very often, they lose some possibilities of business. And so please, listen very carefully if you want to understand more how the Odoo ecosystem is structured to take the most advantage of as a company, but also as a professional that is working with Odoo. And well, first about this term, ecosystem, we hear it a lot in science. It's because as in nature, we also have ecosystem in business. And this term for the business world was defined by James F. Moore for the Harvard Business Review, saying that a business ecosystem is an economic community supported by the interaction of organizations and individuals, the organism of a business ecosystem. Okay, so let's start with the base of the ecosystem, presenting Odoo itself, Odoo SA, and also the Odoo Enterprise clients. So companies that are using Odoo at its full potential, and also the Odoo partners that play a key role at the Odoo ecosystem. So of course that we have other actors that make part of the ecosystem. We are going to discuss this later on, but these we can consider that is the base for the Odoo ecosystem, the relationship that we have between the Odoo and the clients, the customers, and also the partner. Okay, so to have a better understanding, let's discuss the role of each one of these key players at the ecosystem, starting with the role of the software editor, the role of Odoo. And well, the main responsibility of Odoo is to develop and maintain the both versions that we have for Odoo, the Odoo community and also the Odoo enterprise. It is a responsibility of the research and development team that, by the way, they made a great job for the version 13 that we just released in the keynote that Fabian presented. Okay, the R&D team is working closely with the business service team, and some services that they offer is the technical and functional support through success package. So there are packs of hours that are professional from Odoo can provide a system both to clients and also to partners. To partners mainly for their first implementation or for complex projects as well. Okay. The business service team, they also provide migration service. So for example, a company that was using a version of Odoo, they wants to migrate to the latest version, and I believe that's going to be the case with a lot of clients that are using some version, requesting migration to the version 13. And another possibility is doing the migration from an Odoo community database to an enterprise one. Okay? The business service team, they're also working with hosting with the Odoo Online, our cloud, our SaaS, and also with Odoo SH. For those who don't know, there's a very powerful platform for hosting and also developments that can be tested in a safe environment as well. And if necessary, also the business service team, they are working with bug fixing. Okay. Another team that is very important for Odoo is the sales team. That is divided between the direct and indirect. Very briefly, direct team with direct implementation to the clients, to the companies, directly done by Odoo, and indirect team for implementations done by the partners, okay? But both of these teams, they're responsible to provide information to the clients, all information necessary so the companies can take their decision. And these include make a deep qualification, understand the business requirement, the workflows of the company, and also presenting Odoo itself, presenting a demo. And in this demo, the idea is to show exactly the flows that this company will have when using Odoo. In this way, it's easier for these companies to take the decision of implementing Odoo. And of course, a part of the sales team is to provide commercial support, to give all this information necessary to the company to take this decision. And these include, for example, we see from our experience that the majority of the companies, they implement Odoo for several years, so it's possible as well to have a special discount for long-term contracts. For example, it's one of the role of the sales team to provide all this information that is necessary to take the decision, not for the short term, but for the long term as well, okay? And this support is from clients, but also to partners in all the requests that they might have, especially with the indirect team. And we can see about the positions as well. We have the account manager and the business advisor that they're in direct contact with the clients. Normally, the account manager for implementations done with partner, and the business advisor for direct implementation, okay? So even if you are a client, you are not sure to whom you should do your implementation, direct with Odoo or with a partner, please, you can share your business requirement with anyone here at Odoo. We will be glad to help. And if you decided to go to a partner, you are a client, you don't know which partner to go to, you can ask also recommendation for the account manager, and we can recommend a partner. It can be for several factors. For example, one that is specialized in manufacturing, the other one that knows everything about e-commerce, the other one for specific reasons. There are a lot of factors, but our task is to help the clients doing this decision about the implementation, including how to choose a specific partner. Okay, so after the clients have their subscription with Odoo, after 9 months, they're going to be introduced to the customer success manager. There's a professional from Odoo that is trained to follow up the subscription of the clients, their experience on the long term. Okay, this is to provide to guarantee the best experience possible for the clients. Okay, so this is briefly the main aspects for the sales team. And we also have the marketing events team. There's a team that is very important to us, and they are responsible for the brand of Odoo, how to manage the brand awareness of Odoo throughout the world. We all know that Odoo is all over the world, and this image that we pass is very important to be aligned in the different markets that we are working at. And they also organize events, as we have here, the Odoo experience, and we are going to have for the first time there in the United States the Odoo Connect. So if you are in November by San Francisco, it's going to be a pleasure to see you there at the Odoo Connect as well. And I've seen how hard the marketing events team have to work to make this Odoo experience happen. So it's a big accomplishment. And another part of these key events, we also organize a lot of road shows all over the world to show Odoo in specific markets. And for example, for the version 12, we had more than 260 events in the 5 continents. And that's a big achievement. And you can expect way more events for the version 13. And we're also going to have a talk later on this morning made by Clement about the road shows as well. Okay? And of course, all of that is only part of the work of the Odoo management team, that they are managing the different office of Odoo, the different areas, putting in practice the strategy that we have, even considering this fast international expansion that Odoo has experienced mainly in the last few years as well. Okay, so now that we've covered the main roles of the software editor, we can see also the responsibilities of a very important player in the ecosystem. That's the Odoo partners. And their main responsibility is to deliver successful implementation. And this is only possible when they have experienced and skilled professional. As for example, a project director, someone that normally is the head of the company, someone that has a lot of experience and is managed different implementations at the same time. Okay, this professional is working closely with the project leader, the main point of contact with the customer. Okay, and the project leader is responsible for the product, for the implementation, for the project, and he's also in contact. Well, he has in his team normally some business analyst and consultant. They are the person that will go there on the clients. They are going to gather information. They are going to understand deep the needs that the client might have to also choose what's the best configuration for Odoo. And if necessary, the business analyst and the consultant, they can request for help to an app expert. Normally, it's a professional that has a deep understanding about one specific app, and he can be in one specific project or making part of several implementation projects throughout the company, but it's someone that can help in complex projects as well. Okay, and all of these professionals, if necessary, they can require some. They can write some requirements to the developer that if any development is necessary to do at their database. So it's very important to understand the role of each one of the components of the partner. No? And apart from the implementation, important to notice that there are a lot of partners that they offer other services as well. For example, hosting, maintenance, consulting, marketing service, and so on. And what is really cool about the Odoo network of partners is that each one of them they have a different background, a different experience. So there are like this whole diversity of partners that allow us to make implementations in a very large scope of projects. Okay, so all these professionals, they are working mainly in the implementation phases of a project, including the gap analysis, the kickoff, the implementation itself, that makes part, well, the data import, the configuration, even some developments, until the moment where we arrive at the go live. It's not going to be the topic of this talk to make a deep understand, but I recommend to those that want to know more about the implementation phase, we're going to have very interesting talk during the Odoo experience about it. And also recommend to check the Odoo implementation methodology book. That's a book that was recently released that can guide you through all the process of implementation. And of course, after the go live, it's important to do also the follow-up and the later phases of the project, mainly for the project that are very complex projects. Okay? So now that we've covered the topic of the role about Odoo SA and also the partners, let's take a look more at the responsibilities that the Odoo Enterprise client has. And the most important is that they have to be committed to the project. No? So they have to provide resources, they provide knowledge. So normally it's a person, a professional that has a complete understanding about the business flows, about the process of the company as well. Normally we can discuss, we can we can give a name to this person about the single point of contact, the person that's going to be responsible from the side of the client for the implementation. This professional as well play a key role in the change management. So being an ambassador, that's going to convince the end users about the value brought by Odoo. This is something that is very important as well, and something that is very important is to provide regular feedback about the product, about Odoo, and about the project, about the implementation, and both to the partner if it's the case of implementation done by the partner, but also to Odoo. This is very important as well. And if you want to know more, to have more stories about the implementations, I invite you all to visit the Odoo Success Stories, where you can find very nice examples of implementations done in different sectors, in different countries, and that can give an inspiration to the clients that are implementing Odoo at the moment. Okay, and I invite you all that if you want to share your story as well directly at the Odoo webpage, you're all invited to do so at the Odoo Success Story. Okay, so as I mentioned, this is the base of the Odoo ecosystem, and now we can go more in details about the commercial flows as well between these actors. Okay, so the Odoo Enterprise clients, they can buy their Odoo Enterprise license directly from Odoo, and they can hire the professional service from their partners, including implementation, training, maintenance, as I mentioned before. Okay, if they are not doing direct implementation with Odoo, in which case it's highly recommendable to buy a success pack. A professional is going to provide our system in the implementation for the customer. Okay. On the other hand, we also have the relationship between the partners with Odoo. The partners, they can join the Odoo partnership program, in which they are going to receive training, visibility, a dedicated account manager, and all of that is going to generate new opportunity of business as well. And if necessary, as I mentioned before, it's possible to also to have a success pack, a business analyst, consultant, or developers to help the partners mainly in complex implementation or for their first projects. Okay, and well, we had this closer picture about the Odoo ecosystem. Let's have a wider perspective as well, in which we can introduce also the Odoo community users, that they are using, these companies, they are using Odoo, and we are proud to say that Odoo is one of the main free softwares in the whole world. There are millions and millions of users in the Odoo community version. And if a Odoo community company wants to migrate to Odoo Enterprise, to take the advantage of the completely software, the editor, support, version upgrade, and so on, Odoo can also provide all the support on this perspective as well. Okay, and normally these databases are implemented by some expert, independent professional that not always they are trained to perform a successful implementation. That's why I invite all of those that are in this phase to join the Odoo partnership program first as a learning partner, and if they feel that they are ready, they have the knowledge, the competence to do implementations, to join the Odoo partnership as an official partner. And after some time, after some experience, after gaining some knowledge, it's possible to reach the silver and the gold level. And I recommend also to all the companies that are implementing Odoo, especially to those that are making complex implementation, to rely on the experience, on the competence of the gold and the silver partner to provide their implementation service. Okay, and some of the partners, they also link it to an association, as is the case of the Odoo Community Association that has a booth here at the Odoo Experience, so I recommend you to check it out, their booth at the Odoo Experience. Okay. Another component that's very important for the Odoo ecosystem is the Odoo App Store, where you can find different modules that were developed all over the world, normally for niche requirements. So that some requirements that are not covered by the Odoo standard version. Okay, it's very nice, and it's the biggest of its kind on the internet, so we can find a lot of different modules and apps at the Odoo App Store. And another program that is very cool is the Odoo Education, that provides access to students and teachers from universities, high schools, to access Odoo. And I invite you all to visit the webpage, or even to discuss with Charlene, that's the responsible for the Odoo Education program. But okay, I provide you an overview about the Odoo ecosystem. I hope that this information are useful to you. They can allow you to have more meaningful relationships with the other companies that you have your relationship. And also going to finish with a statement that I guess that is important to highlight about relationships, that trust, transparency, and communication are the key for a successful implementation. Well, thank you all. It's been a pleasure to be here. And for those who want to discuss more in details, my name is Gabriel Moraes. My email is gam@odoo.com. And also in the social medias, in LinkedIn, please feel free to send me a message as well. And if you have any questions, any topic, we can discuss as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure, yep. Hello.
From Yoshti Consulting.
Nice to meet
Pleasure.
you.
Yeah, pleasure to meet
Pleasure.
you.
What's your name again?
C'est bon?
Hello everyone. First of all, I don't think this microphone works, so if you can't hear me at the back, is it okay? Sound-wise? Fantastic. If I speak a bit too fast, don't hesitate to slow me down, okay? I know it happens, it's not an issue. First of all, quickly, I'm James Ellison. I'm responsible for recruiting and onboarding new official and learning partners here at Odoo Brussels for Europe and Africa. And what we'll do today is we'll have a chat about what you guys need to do to get going when you just sign up as a learning or an official partner. So I guess that most of the people in this room are existing partners or interested parties who will at one point in time become Odoo partners, okay, whether learning or official. If you want to have a chat with about this, don't hesitate to come to me afterwards and we'll discuss. So today we'll see a couple of things that you guys need to do to get going as an Odoo partner and therefore be operational as soon as possible. Number one, we'll see the knowledge base, okay, which we've redone. It's brand new, looks quite nice. Number two will be the partner dashboard, the focal tool to manage your Odoo partnership. Then we'll have a look at what you guys can do to get trained on Odoo Enterprise with 3 different methods of different levels of let's say, details and granularity. We'll have a quick look about the functional and technical documentation, as well as webinars and certifications. Now, number one, the partner knowledge base. Maybe you've seen it, we've just put it online now. We redid it completely during the summer. Basically, the partnership knowledge base is a central tool for all partners around the world. It's a platform, a database, with all kinds of information that are super useful when you start up the partnership. Okay, so for example, we'll have videos on how to do a good Odoo demo, how to qualify a lead, our methodology, best practices, tips and tricks, sales tips and tricks, marketing tips and tricks. We ask, let's say, all Odoo partners to have a thorough look at this. Why? Because it gives you the first tools, the first steps towards what to do in order to start your partnership in the correct way. This will diminish drastically, let's say, the admin back and forth of emails with your new account manager regarding, for example, how to create a GitHub user, how to give access to the partner dashboard that we'll see later on to a couple of your business analysts, okay? Obviously, your AM is still there to help you in the beginning, answer your questions, but if you have a thorough look at that first database of info, you'll get the basics on what to do on your side, what to prepare in order to make sure that you're good to go as an Odoo partner. Again, we'll explain this a bit later on in the presentation, but the relationship with the account manager as a new partner and as an existing partner is, as we feel, one of the most important, let's say, variables into a successful partnership. Okay, but again, we'll see that later. That's for the knowledge base. Like I said, we just redid it. It's online as of yesterday. Okay, so all the videos are brand new on the new functionalities, on the new things that we expect from partners. Number two will be the partner dashboard. That's maybe the most, let's say, important tool you guys have at your disposal to manage your partnership. The main difference will be that partner knowledge base is the same for every single partner around the world, whether it's Odoo Americas, Odoo India, Dubai, Belgium, okay? Basic information for all types of partnerships. Your partner tool, your partner dashboard, sorry, is your personal tool to manage your, let's say, specific partnership with us. So what you'll find on this page, and we'll have a quick look right now, is, for example, this is the partner dashboard, okay? So it's a portal on odoo.com. You log in, we can give access to many different people or not, but you'll basically be able to update your company information, okay? You'll see your level of partner. You can see how many sales you've got, how many users you've got under your belt, how to upgrade to the next level of partnership. Commissions, what stage they are you getting them soon or not? You'll see also the kind of the opportunities and the leads that we transfer to official partners, for example. So we're not going to go into every single detail here, but it's the central tool. Why? Because this is where you access the e-learning platform to get trained. This is where you access the knowledge base to get information, okay? But most of all, most important will probably be the fact that this is where you've got your account manager's details. Now, like I said before, it's a really important variable into a successful partnership. Why? Because your account manager is an ally on more of the commercial pre-project side to get new customers, okay? Now, the reason why we feel it's that important is because in the past we saw that there was a lot of admin back and forth between account managers and their partners, and the feedback from partners as well as the account managers was that sometimes they feel that they didn't have they were repeating the same information, okay, maybe for different people inside the same company. Stupid example, that's probably the most used case of partners and account managers sort of losing time. So in this case, we want to make sure that with all the info you've got here, with the partner knowledge base, with your partner dashboard, you've got everything needed. This is where you see, for example, that maybe a contract that should be under your partnership is, for one reason or another, not assigned to you. So this is where you go, okay, I saw on my partner dashboard that I wasn't assigned this contract. Okay. Now, the second reason why it's extremely important is because, like I said, they have a couple of partners to manage. We're drastically reducing, let's say, the number of partners per head. Okay, so we're recruiting a lot in that department. But it's also mainly because when you finish the admin part, you sign the documentation with someone from my team usually, we obviously start already explaining and showing this to you and the different tools you've got at your disposal. But you sign the docs, the admin part is over, we transfer you to the account manager's team. Okay, now again, there will be a first call, as usual, to get to know each other, probably discuss a bit of strategy. But like I said, the most important part will probably be on that first call, try and define precise communication channels, whether it be Skype, email, phone, even WhatsApp sometimes. Frequency of that communication. Are we going to talk every day, every 2 days, every week, every month? Okay. And most important, I think, is frequent contact. Even if you don't have anything specific, don't have a specific project to talk about, anything, just keep in contact with your account manager to tell him, okay, I'm free now, I don't have that many projects, or we're going on holiday, half of my team is being trained for the next month. Small information like that can drastically help your account manager and therefore the actual partner. Obviously, on the first call, if you have some potential customers you're working on or working with, you've got questions regarding those, regarding the sales part, or even if they already told you, I want to be an Odoo customer, please inform your account manager so he can do the admin part and actually assign you to that lead, that prospect, or that actual customer. Now that we saw what you guys should do, what we expect you to do in terms of, let's say, first resources, first steps as a new Odoo partner, you obviously have to train your team. Okay, now, we have 3 methods of training that, let's say, go into more and more detail every time you go forward. Number 1 is the scale-up business game. Now, this is brand new. It's a couple of months old. Every new partner that signs up can have access to that game. It's card-based, but it's interactive. So you will need a live Odoo Enterprise database to actually complete the game. We all tried it. It's actually good fun, so give it a shot because, as Fabien said many times, and as we know, learning is much better assimilated when you're having fun. Okay, so like I said, give it a shot. It's free for the moment, and it's always fun to start like that. But obviously, it's not enough. Okay, so most of the partners will already have an idea of the general Odoo logic, whether it's on the architecture side, on the back end, or on the functional front end side, because they were using Community before, or because they've got a general, let's say, affinity with ERPs in general. But if you don't, and if you've never really seen what Odoo is, or if you want to go into more details about the functionalities, we will provide you with an e-learning platform. Okay, so it's online, it's free. Again, we redid that a couple of months ago. It's now published. What is it? It's basically, again, a set of videos where one of our business advisors, Amy, will delve into the native Odoo applications. Okay, all their basic standard configuration. She will go into every single detail. Okay, if we talk about inventory, we'll see all the different routes we can have, how to extract, import, all types of, let's say, configuration, but all in the standard, let's say, version of Odoo. Okay, we will not go into technical customizations or developments. It will delve and stay into the actual basics and standard configuration of all the Odoo Enterprise applications. It will go into detail on how you can use them together. There'll be quizzes, business cases, obviously explanation of how they are all linked and integrated together. The best way, to use this platform, and it's something we use to train our new employees. So like I said, we are now recruiting quite heavily in all types of departments, whether it be technical, sales, marketing, support. And we now, for the last year and a half, have been training the new Odoo people with this database for a good solid 3 to 4 weeks. And then they pass the actual certification test and see where they are in terms of actual skills on the product. Okay, so we have complete blind trust in that that database of videos. Again, every time you have maybe a question on a functionality, always best to try it yourself. See where you're blocked so that your questions to the account manager can be actually concrete, precise, and project related, which is always best for both parties involved. So the best way to use it is what? You've got the videos, you look at them, and ideally we ask our guys to have a second screen and to try and replicate everything that's been done. Now, the best way to learn about Odoo Enterprise is definitely practice, play around with the software. What you can do also, and works really well, is to have either fictional business cases or concrete cases you've had in the past and think, okay, how would I manage this business flow in Odoo? Okay, how would I create a new product in Odoo? How do I build a table, build a bit of materials, create a marketing campaign? You have ideas, you try. If you have questions, you go into the actual resources we give you, and then you get back to your account manager. Like I said, this streamlines the communication with your AM, and it ensures you've got precise, pinpointed questions. Again, practice, practice, practice. You can look at all the videos you want. If you don't, give it a shot concretely. Might not work out. Now, last but not least, partner success packs. I think Gabriel, in the previous talk, mentioned those. Quickly, partner success packs, what are they? Hours of consultancy, they range from 25 to 200 or more if you need, where our own Odoo consultants, who implement projects with customers on a daily basis, so they've got a very good, let's say, intimate knowledge of the software, they will provide support for partners. Now, support can be general Q&A. You've got a development, a tricky implementation, or you'll need help because you've never worked with the point of sale module, for example. You take a pack and you work with a consultant while still being obviously the integrating partner and the responsible for implementing that project. But we've got the guys here, Odoo people, who are there to help you, whether it's code review, performance audits, implementation training, and tips and tricks. Now, these guys are also available for training. Okay, so you can get trained in, let's say, two different aspects of Odoo, the functional and the technical side. The functional side, in both cases, either you come to our offices or we send someone on site. Okay, but that's an operational detail you'll see with your account manager. The functional training will be mostly used by partners who know that they'll probably target a specific type of customers. Okay, a good example would be point of sale. I, as an Odoo partner, will only look for retailers, small, large shops that will use point of sale, invoicing, IoT box, and inventory. You need to know more about the standard functionalities. Then we can make a custom training based on these flows, apps, or whatever you need. Okay. Now, most of the partners will use these success packs for technical training. Because to be honest, with the e-learning, with the scale-up game, with the user doc we'll see afterwards on the functional side, and if you already have a sort of, let's say, affinity with ERPs, that can be, in most cases, enough. So they'll use it for technical training, either standard or custom. The standard training will be a 5-day week course, okay, 8 hours a day through a 50-hour success pack. Again, we come to your office or you guys come on site. The standard training will provide you with a normal classic curriculum, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. The only prerequisite is that the people that will attend this have a good knowledge of Python, that they know how to code in Python. And what you'll be able to do after this standard training is basically to develop an Odoo module from scratch. Okay, so we'll look at the different relations between the views, the models, the records, how all these interact with each other, how to manage a database, how to deploy. Okay, after this, they'll be able to develop a module from scratch. We can also do custom training. That would be the case for a partner that knows that they'll go for a specific industry. For example, as you know, Odoo has been developed in a sort of, wouldn't say generic, I don't like the word, but in a general way, so that most companies can actually use the basic functionalities of the ERP. But we have partners who will say, I will only target education sector, I will only target hospitality sector. And they will develop custom apps. Either they will use our apps and just enhance them to make it look like an industry-specific application, or they'll build one from scratch. You want to penetrate a niche market, and you see that what Odoo's got isn't completely sufficient. In this case, you simply get in contact with your account manager. Again, that's the main word of this presentation. Tell him what you want. We will speak with the different trainers and the different managers involved in the support team, and we'll be able to propose, let's say, an adequate success pack to actually be able to train you guys. So here, there's no real standard curriculum. It can range from a couple of days to 2 weeks. Okay, it really depends on what you want. So a good conversation with your account manager, if you have specific needs, is always needed. Now, like I said, we also have documentation on the website. So now you've used the basic resources, you've set up your partnership on the admin side, okay, you know how everything works, the relationship with your AM. You had a look at the training, but there is still some good old written documentation on our website. Now this will be, let's say, divided into two categories. We have technical and functional documentation. Technical documentation, called developer doc, will focus on the backend, basically, okay? It will have a look. You have a couple of examples here of building a module, okay, deploying Odoo on different types of virtual machines, APIs, general management of a DB, how to ping an on-premise database, for example, okay? Again, technically, let's say, focused, back-end focused. We also have user documentation, which is, as the word says, sort of user-focused, more functional. Here, I would say describe this one as the complement, the way to go the extra mile after you've watched the actual e-learning platform and all the videos. Same principle, standard native Odoo apps, but we go into detail in each different possible configuration, each different, let's say, different business flow that can be managed by these applications. Again, we've talked a lot about streamlining the conversations with your account manager, but they're still there to help you. They're still your point of contact. They're your main reference at Odoo. So definitely don't hesitate to contact them, even if you feel it's a question that you might not need to ask him, but always get in touch with them. What we're doing here is really try and say, okay, before you actually delve into Odoo, these are the steps you have to ideally take. Now, we've had a look at the different resources that you have access to as a partner, documentation, training possibilities, but last but not least, I would talk about the webinars. Why? Because, again, there's two types of webinars. Our YouTube page is full of them. This is one of the reasons why I was going to say it's actually so successful. There's going to be two types: functional and more partner-specific webinars. The functional, user-oriented webinars will again be given by our Odoo guys, Odoo consultants, Odoo salespeople, who will either have a look at a specific app or a specific set of applications and go through all the different possibilities with scenarios, with use cases, even customer references that we have. Or they look at an industry. They'll say, how would you, I'm thinking about, for example, the new Odoo fiduciary app, how to manage an accounting business with an Odoo application. Okay, 45-minute to 1-hour webinars, either on industry or specific applications on the functional side. Again, we're not going to go into the technical matters in these webinars. And then we have partner-specific webinars where it's either a Q&A with the manager of the account managers from an office, okay, or with Fabien, the founder, and Ask Me Anything, or we'll also have a look at specific, let's say, themes and topics that are also covered in the partner knowledge base, okay, but here we make it a bit more, let's say, interactive. You can have a chat with the guys who are doing the webinars, and the partner-specific ones will, again, be the same kind of themes. Best practices to be an Odoo partner. How can I be a successful Odoo partner? Mistakes to avoid, okay? They will be in the knowledge base, but we kind of go into more details into webinars. And the great added value of that is that if you have a question, you watch a webinar, there's always a solid 15-20 minutes of Q&A live, okay? So they're all live with our guys from the support or from the sales teams. Now, last point that we're going to speak about here is the certification. Now, what is it technically? Again, it's functional. So it's an 80-question, hour-long test in which typically I would say more salespeople from your team or functional people who will go on site, speak to the customer, analyze their needs. These are the people who will be most likely certified because, like I said, it will stay on the functional side. Advanced functional side for sure. A typical example of a question would be, I've got a product A configured as XYZ. When I confirm the sale order, what happens? Is it a delivery order? Is it an accounting line? Is it a project or a task? Okay, so it doesn't just ask you, what does this mean or what does this configuration do? It will go into the next step. If you confirm something, what will happen? I wouldn't say in the back end, but in each and every application in which it's connected. Now, why are we putting the, let's say, a focus on certification this year and in the past couple of months? 3 main reasons. Because it will help you be a successful partner. It's needed to retain the partnership level now, which we'll speak about, and it enhances your credibility tenfold. Now, why? Obviously, it's needed to be a successful partner because you need to know what you're going to sell, what you're going to implement. You need to get trained. You might as well have the proof that you know what you're talking about. Number 2, we saw in the past, and that's a partner and an account manager feedback, and obviously a customer feedback, that not all partners proactively played the game. Okay, so they would become partners, and they would not specifically have a good, decent, thorough look at the resources we gave them. So that means that when a customer contacted them, there was sometimes a bit of a dip in the expectations of the customer, as the partner was probably not as skilled as what we expected and what he expected. Okay, so now, if today you become an official partner, you have 3 months to have 1 resource certified. Okay, it will be checked by the account managers. Obviously, we're not going to talk about a day or 2, but it won't take 9 months for someone to get certified. We do ask official partners to play the game proactively, get someone certified. If you look at the e-learning videos, if you know a bit, if you have a bit of knowledge, it should be all right, no worries. And obviously number 2 is credibility towards customers. Why? Because basically when you are listed on the odoo.com/partners page per country, you will have a notification that says that partner is certified. Okay, you can get certified in the latest 3 versions, so then that we roll out 13, we'll continue supporting 13, 12, and 11. So you can start certification on 11 if you already have some experience on that project. Okay, we'll put it there. And that definitely enhances your chances of having, let's say, a good image to the customer who's gonna contact you. Now, I hope this was clear. Again, we're always there to answer any potential questions you may have. I'm sure there'll be a couple of afterwards. But what we expect from partners in a nutshell is to proactively play the game. Okay, so we did develop these resources. Took a lot of time, a lot of fun to do it, to be honest. We tried to make them as interactive and as nice to watch as possible. It would be good for you guys to check it out, especially the partner knowledge base. But what we expect from new partners, like I said, play the game, be proactive, train your team, whether it be through packs, through the learning platform, through certifications that are now needed. And how to do it, obviously, is have a look at the resources. Train your team, speak with your account manager. I'll never put the focus enough on that one. Speak with your account manager, but most of all, be proactive and definitely show some curiosity, and it should all work out. Thank you very much for listening. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Are there resources for the certification?
Sorry?
Are there learning resources for the certification?
Yes, it'll go through the learning platform. You've got about, I would say the last count was close to 90 videos that go into each application. So if you take a module like inventory management or manufacturing, accounting, you'll have many videos that are probably between 45 minutes and an hour long. So if you do watch those, if you replicate the sort of exercises, business case you're given, in all logic, the feedback we've had is that it's enough. The people who are certified have been, let's say, trained through that channel mostly. But again, proactiveness, curiosity, try it out, try it out, try it out. If you create something, in Odoo, whether it's a stock move, a sale, and you're not sure what happened, behind, go and have a look. Be curious, check it out yourself, and it should be all right. But mainly, to get certified, you can get functional training advanced. That's obviously a big help. But the e-learning platform should suffice, for sure. Yes, sir.
So you're saying to try out, as we are partners, do we have access to all the applications, or how
Yes.
does it work?
So basically, it's a good point, I forgot to mention that. When you become an Odoo partner, we know that you have to train many people at the same time, and we're not going to ask you to work on an online SaaS database that lasts for 15 days. Okay, we can extend it, but it's just not clean. And it augments the actual emails we try to, the communication we'll try to streamline. So when you're a partner, you can open up as many locally installed, on a computer, on a server, virtual machine, Odoo Enterprise databases. They're valid for 1 month, but you're responsible for making them roll over. So when you see there's a day or two left, you re-enter your code, you're good to go for another month. And this is the best way, definitely, to train yourself. You have usually a big training database per person. It can also be used for the technical people to test developments, integrations, connectors they made. But this is the best way to do so. Look at the videos, have another screen with a locally installed, managed by the partner database. Yep.
The webinars and e-learning are all part of the dashboard?
No, that's why I tried to explain that in the beginning. The dashboard, you can have access to these resources from the dashboard. The dashboard must be seen as a real tool. You have a question, you want to know if you've had some leads, if you had some new customers, if you were signed the correct contract, through the dashboard. Okay? And from there, you get to the e-learning, to the knowledge base. You see what I mean? So it's really, like I said, it's not that old. I think it's about 6 months old. But the feedback we've had for the moment is positive. A lot of partners have helped us saying, I would like to see this kind of information, that type of information. Now I think it's quite close to being, let's say, the final clean version. But this is where you'll really access all the information, your own databases, your own contracts. If you're using Odoo internally, this is where you have access to it. All the databases you've opened will be done through that, let's say, partner portal. Yes, sir.
Scale-up game, is it based on version 12 or 13?
It will be here. It's going to be based on V12. V12. I think they did add a couple of V13 features that they were sure about. But it's a very good question. I don't think something like rental will be in there. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Scale up really must be seen as a first taste of Odoo. Really is good fun. We've all tried it, but it stays a game. Okay, so you shouldn't think of it as the main training tool, but it's a very good way of starting to discover the general logic of Odoo, integration between applications, how it works in general. No more questions? Great. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Hi everyone. Do you hear me all? So thank you for being here and welcome in Odoo Experience 2019. So I will be the host for how to sell the Quickstart methodology. Maybe you already know the Quickstart methodology because you attended the Smart class on Monday. If you are interested in this subject, there is also a talk later today hosted by Catherine Wieslet. Here it will be more of a recap of the basics. So my name is Florence. I work in the direct team at Odoo as a business advisor. So I'm in contact with companies, mostly SMEs in Europe and in Africa. And I advise them on their needs and I try to translate them into Odoo modules. So here I will speak about the target of the Quickstart methodology. I will explain the approach and then I will end by the Quickstart in figures and I will conclude. At the end we'll have a question and answer session and you can speak with me afterwards. So the target of the Quickstart methodology is the small and medium-sized companies. So who are there? It's companies from all over the world, obviously. They are from all sectors and industries because, as you know, Odoo is an ERP and it's not focused in a sector or an industry. And the target of this methodology is really broad. And finally, it's the companies with different levels of expectation and different project scopes. Then how to qualify them? These companies, so these SMEs, are sometimes inexperienced to the ERP and to the implementation of an ERP. Then they may be unavailable sometimes and not 100% dedicated, so it's a challenge we face. They can be as well multi-skilled, so this is as well a challenge, and they are flexible. So they must be flexible because the methodology really needs from the people in the company flexibility. And finally, they may be limited in budget, in delays, in resources, among others. So our approach is the Quickstart. Just for your information, it was recently renamed as Odoo Implementation. But when I speak about Quickstart, it's the same methodology. So, what is the focus? Here you have a lot of information, but what is important is that the methodology wants the implementation to keep the solution as standard as possible, to deliver as fast as possible, and keep the implementation affordable. So we have the same level of product and methodology for all projects, even though it's replicated in different structure and organization. So we have different rules, as you can see on the slide, such as train the trainer, the 80-20 rule, one spoke, and the fast implementation. Then we'll go deeper into these rules afterwards. First, because the talk explains how to sell the methodology, I will speak about the sales journey at Odoo, or even generally with an ERP. So first, when we are in contact with a prospect, there is the project qualification. So the qualification of the needs of the company is the first step with some pre-sales analysis. And towards all the steps of the sales journey, the methodology needs to be pitched and to explain what is it exactly. So after the analysis of the needs, there is demonstration phase, then explanation of the timing, then follow-up, etc. And sometimes we can even do gap analysis to analyze deeper the needs. By the way, there is an interesting talk about gap analysis later today, hosted by Adrian Hayes. So yeah, here is the project qualification, and we always have to agree on the Quickstart methodology. So now I will explain the basics of the methodology. First, the first guideline is to keep one SPOC, so a single point of contact. And the first rule is that one consultant is responsible for the whole project. So there is one Odoo SPOC to avoid waste of time and energy. Then there is one decision maker from the client side. So the person understands the business processes of the companies. He can take some decisions and is consistent in those decisions. So we avoid misinterpretation, misinformation, and more generally mistakes. Then the third rule is to optimize the meetings. It goes with the one SPOC because we need the meetings to be straight to the point. And the preparation, of course, and pre-analysis is key. So the second guideline is to build a plan. This is really the beginning of the Quickstart methodology because we need to really phase the project and prioritize. So everybody from the client and the implementer is agreed on a clear initial scope, and we set the different priorities. The second rule, so as I said, is the phased project to deliver quickly and regularly. And to have a project overview instead of trying to do everything at once and then nothing is really usable. Then the third rule is to keep the standard first. We'll always try to implement the Odoo standard first and then analyze if customizations or even development is needed, just to avoid useless developments, and nice to have functionalities that are developed but actually were not necessary. Then manage the expectations. It's a really important part in the pre-sales, but also in the implementation, because sometimes the expectations are really high, and we have sometimes a difference between the outcome and the expectation. So we need to, we sometimes face disappointment. So from the beginning, everything has to be clear. And to do this, we apply the 80-20 approach. So it means 80%, we'll implement 80% of the needs to start with, most of the time the standard, and then we'll see about the 20%, the remaining 20%. So because most of the time those 20%, which is customizations, development, etc., are the longest part. Then the second rule to manage the expectations is to agree on the methodology from the start, to validate the different phases, validate the whole project, the roles and responsibilities of everybody, to avoid a frustrated team and a project fail. Then another guideline is to keep an open line of communication. So this goes again through a project scope that is very clear, and transparency about the possibilities and the limitations. So there is no assumption made. Everything needs to be clear and recorded. So you do meeting minutes after some meetings, you do project status with the essentials, but not too many documentation and videos, but just the right documentation, the to-dos, the need descriptions, and the responsibilities of everyone. Then bear in mind that Odoo is very flexible, so sometimes you need to be a little bit creative. So the project team focuses really on the project success by evaluating the feasibility and the stability of the project. And as I said, Odoo is customizable, so only develop for the good reasons, because then if the development was not useful, it can really put in place some negative efforts, and yeah, it's not what you want to do. And then, so simplify the business processes. Again, it goes with the 80-20 rule. The business flows of the company needs to be flexible, to be more efficient, and really being challenged. Then customize at the right moment. because the change of an ERP is a replacement, not a replication or duplication of the existing platform. So there is a reason why the client is moving from a tool to Odoo. So it's best to work on the business flows than to only replicate them into a new tool, because then it's really not efficient. Then it's also guarantee a long-term use, because we noticed that 60% of the customizations requests were dropped after getting used to the Odoo standard. So it's always better to use the standard and then brainstorm and see if you want to customize or develop afterwards. Then a guideline as well for the Quickstart methodology is the analyze, test, and validate, because everything is about testing and analyzing. So it starts in the pre-sale, but as well in the implementation. It's always first the training of the SPOC on the Odoo standard, and then we'll see. So the approach is to use the what and why. So everybody has a role. He needs to take some actions in order to achieve a goal. And then if everybody has a role, well, let's distribute them correctly. So Odoo provides a solution fitting with the agreed scope. So they need to test to validate if it fits with their reality. Then last but not least is the data history. We consider it as not a priority because, of course, data history is necessary for some reporting reasons, but it can often kill the project agenda and it sometimes have a low cost-benefit ratio. So there is 3 different approaches. The first one is not to import the data. So you keep all the data in the previous tool and you reference to it when it's necessary. Or you import a summarized history of the data. Or you import all the data but after the production launch. Otherwise, there is too many delays in the production. So here's a few figures about the Quickstart methodology. So in Belgium, it's 55 functional consultants. Maybe we have some in the room. I don't know. Here. And so the consultants are implementing the solution. They are a SPOC for clients. And they are phasing the project. And in the world, we have 4 Quickstart teams. So 1 in Belgium, 1 in the USA, 1 in Hong Kong, and 1 in India. We are launching in Belgium 65 projects per month, and in average 9 apps per project, with the phased approach, of course, so 2 or 3 in the beginning and then the following. And we have a very good success rate of 90% according to customer feedbacks, and last but not least, a 99% success rates in 2019 so far. So that's quite impressive. So to conclude, here is what you need to focus on. So first, keep the solution as standard as possible in order to deliver as fast as possible and to keep the implementation affordable. There we go. So if you have any questions, we'll have a Q&A session now, or you can just drop me an email and I'll answer you.
We have access to the presentation because we're trying to take photos.
Yeah, I saw. So actually, they will be streamed, so they will be recorded online on YouTube.
But that's video, right? I mean the presentation.
Yeah, I think the presentation is streamed or not. The slides, they will be uploaded, but after the experience online. So now they're not available yet. Yeah, tell me. Yeah.
I like the methodology and everything, but you know, when you're actually doing implementation, it's very difficult to close a project.
Yeah, I know.
So when you have at least some kind of a picture, yeah, after your gap analysis, then you have a bigger chance. With this methodology, I don't know. I like it, but I feel it's a bit loose when coming to close the project. So how do you actually close the project?
But
when is the customer satisfied? That is also,
But
very-
that is the point, is that when you phase the project, you can deliver every 3 weeks or 4 weeks one module instead of being launched into a big project and maybe not deliver.
I understand that. That's at the end of the day, that's the Scrum methodology. It's using that, okay? But my idea is, or my question specifically is, okay, let me put the question another way, okay?
Yeah.
When do you sign off a project?
When
do you sign off a project?
Yeah?
Then, you get your remaining payment and...
No,
because-
they need to agree on the methodology before signing. Otherwise, the project will fail. Because in the beginning, you need to say to your client, I know you want this and this and this and this and this. This and this is standard, this is customization, and this is development. So, do you agree that will challenge your needs? And that will maybe propose you workarounds, and that maybe we won't develop this, and that you will have to do with the standard. This is the methodology. Challenge the needs of the users to deliver fast.
I just want to find, sorry, do you charge by the hour in that case? Because then you'll have a base rate and then you charge for the specific customizations, yeah?
No, in Odoo we don't do it like that. We do success packs, and then we do within a time the customization, developments, etc.
How long does it take to implement the Quickstart?
Depends.
Depends on the apps.
Yeah, depends on the needs. For instance, I had a client, they had CRM, sales invoicing, 3 weeks in production. Full standard. No customization, no development.
3 weeks.
Yeah, only configuration, adding the users, creating the flow. Sorry? Access rights, yeah, so really quick. But I have clients who took the 3 same modules, and after 6 months they're not in production because they want some button there and they want to add this and add that, and then...
That's what I'm scared of.
And
Sure.
does it make more longer if you implement website?
It depends again. If you want the standard of the solution, the website as you download it, and then you drag and drop the building blocks and you edit text. It's really simple. You can create a website in 1 hour and it's really on point. But if you want to add a special thing and you want to create something there and that, you kind of create some layer above the standard, then it's longer.
So you have to develop.
Not always. Sometimes it's customization, sometimes it's development. But the key to be fast is to challenge the client, because sometimes they want everything, but do they have the budget? Do they have the time to wait for everything to be done?
Does it need it?
Will they use it? Yeah, that's why.
If you need it or not.
Yeah, sure.
Guys don't know what they want. And to support what you were saying, actually, 90% of our projects that actually get followed through and implemented are with clients that we spend minimum like 20 hours prior to even signing off a deal. We spend so much time doing the analysis, gathering your needs, going back and forth, trying to show
Sure.
them you don't need this, you need that.
Yeah.
You're asking for too much and you don't have the budget, you don't have somebody who's going to know how to use it, and there's no need, like you said, just keeping it as standard.
Yeah, and you need to make the users try the standard. You first try the standard for a few weeks. If you need absolutely something, sure, we'll customize it. I mean, I've had clients who need specific things that are not in the standard. Well, we'll develop them, but they need to start with the standard, and then, if it's really necessary, if it's a must-have, then we customize or develop. Yeah.
It's more on a difficult side.
Okay.
10% of dissatisfaction. What were the reasons? What were the key parameters to that?
I don't have the details, but it's related sometimes to the consultant implementing, it's related to timing, it's related to Odoo itself and the standard, to the service of Odoo, like the support, it's related to lots of stuff. Yeah.
I have a question.
Sure.
When you, I sometimes have a problem having one single point of contact with the same company because they can't keep up or they don't have enough time. How do you usually deal with that? How do you put it set in stone? Because you can't keep jumping from one person to another and then take requirements from every single person or take.
Sure.
How do you usually deal with
But
that?
it's very difficult. But at the beginning, really try to have one Spock and keep exchanging with that person. But it's true that sometimes you have different person, and then what I do is that most of the time when I have two Spock, I try to put them in CC so they both know. And with the project organizer, that's interesting because we have some consultants who have different Spock, and then they share the same info with the same Spock. But sometimes some information are missed or lost. But yeah, it's one of the huge challenge, I think.
Do you have a standard satisfaction form that you usually send out to your clients, or is it?
No, actually, for now, it's the 3 smiles, and it's a kind of just comments field, and they can just say about the experience. But we don't have it yet. Maybe in the future.
Cool. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Sometimes